Love. Love is truly one of the most beautiful virtues, if not the most beautiful virtue, we can experience and give out as human beings. But over time, and I can certainly speak for my generation, the meaning of love has been so sullied, beaten, and battered, it's been completely misconstrued. And I can well say, I dare say, 95% of people do not know what love actually is. And most people mistake concepts like attraction, attachment, emotional dependency for love, but that is highly mistaken. And that is what I would like to speak on today. What is love and my model of love, at least according to my understanding of love. First of all, obviously we need to distinguish what kind of love we're talking about, because there are multiple versions of love, at least according to Aristotle. There are versions like agape, platonic, philia, eros, and that's what I want to talk about today, eros, love between partners. So, what is this thing we call love? What is love? Well, here is an all encompassing definition according to my understanding of what love truly is. So, love is a sustained orientation of the will towards the good of another, grounded in accurate perception and expressed through voluntary commitment across time. So, I'm going to break this definition down and explain what it means bit by bit. A sustained orientation. Love is not a spike, it's not a moment or a chemical episode. Love has the borrowed thickness. If it cannot survive fluctuation, fatigue, boredom, frustration, it has not yet reached the level of love, of the will. This is critical. Love is not merely reducible to emotions, although it often accompanies it. Love is a disposition to act, not merely feel. One may experience affection without love, vice versa. One may love without experiencing affection towards the good of another. Love is other regarding. It aims at the flourishing of the beloved as they are, not merely as they gratify the lover. This is the moral call that separates love from addiction, fixation, and passion, grounded in accurate perception. Love requires seeing, not idealization, not fantasy, not projection. One cannot love what one does not substantially know. Where illusion dominates, love has not begun yet. This is where you find relationships falling apart because they do not really know who the person is and they assume love, expressed through voluntary commitment. Love binds itself, not necessarily through contracts or promises, but through reliable patterns of choice. Love that evaporates under inconvenience is not love, but preference. And finally, across time. Time is a great verifier because love endures not because it is constant in intensity, rather because it is constant in orientation. You choose who you love across time, not because the love is everlasting, because you make that choice consciously every day when you wake up to love the person. So, one of the biggest misconceptions about love is this dynamic of falling into love. Love is not something you fall into. Love is something you orient yourself towards every day. It is a conscious effort you make every day. A lot of people mistake things like attraction, chemistry, psychological familiarity, attraction activation for love. These are not love. Falling in love equals emotional event. Love equals sustained orientation. These are different things. These things can lead to love. Every dimension can lead to love, but these things are not love in itself. And people often get stuck in this form, or let me say, first stage of love. So here is my model of love that I created, at least according to my understanding. Love, think of it like this: love is a nucleus, right? It's a cell. The mitochondria is outside, the nucleus is in, and the nucleus is the definition we gave, the sustained orientation across time, based on accurate perception, that definition, right? So the farther you go away from the nucleus, you get things like emotional validation, dependency, projection, all those other misconstrued notions of love which are not love. But the closer you get to love, you get to the definition. That is the core that we explained. So yes, that is my perception, the nucleus model of love, so we call it. So why do most people get love wrong? There are three distinct ways to explain this. So the first one would be biology, attraction, sexual chemistry, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin. That's one side of it. Then the psychological aspects would be attachment styles, unmet needs, childhood trauma, ego validation. Then the third one would be cultural narratives, and this is really what I want to emphasize on. So, according to my observation and understanding, one of the biggest misleading factors of love is the cultural narrative towards it, especially due to Western media, movies, where love equals intensity, suffering, jealousy. This movie's like a good example would be The Notebook. We all know how that movie turned out. That is not love. Those are not accurate explanations. Those are um, distorted versions of love. They are not love. They are further from the nucleus of love. So these three things are the biggest misconceptions or misleading factors on love. And we should learn to distinguish when or which one is taking place when we are meeting new people and experiencing them for the first time, and not make sure we're actually fully experiencing and understanding them for who they are and not our biology, psychology, or cultural narrative that we're trying to fit. So what love actually requires. Love requires choice, commitment, consistency, and perception. Love is not passive. Love is an ongoing act of the will. It's something we perform every day through showing up for our partner every day, through hardships, through frustration, through boredom, through fatigue. These things, the small things, that is love. Love is not the butterflies you get in your tummy. No, that is attraction. That is biology. That is not love. So we need to remove these myths given to us by media or biology or psychology and actually understand what love is. And when we do get to understand what love is, I can assure you, it will change society. So my final insight would be love, or should I say, most people think love is something that they find, but love is something you become capable of sustaining through constant effort and trial. And capability is really rare. So I would like to hear your opinions in the comment sections and tell me what you think love is. Tell me where you agree and disagree, and you can correct me if you think I'm wrong in any place. So, ciao.